Welcome to Ararat Baptist Church for the annual Remembrance concert featuring the St Albans Concert Band with conductor Geraint Barr. My name is Kerry Stennett, and I'm delighted to be with you again for the third year now as the compere for the events this evening. It's especially nice for me because I first saw the light of day just across the road in Heel Maddock back in 1960 with my dear mum and dad, and I'm sure some of you may well remember my dear old dad, Stan Stennett, who obviously did a bit in his time. And I'm proud and honoured to wear his miniature medals here on my chest this evening as well, because in the latter stages of the First World War he was in the Royal Artillery in one of the Ack batteries, serving in France and Holland and parts of Germany. So for me, as I say, a great privilege to be here this evening. Before we start, just a couple of little housekeeping notes for you. In the very unlikely event that we need to vacate the building for any reason, obviously we have the entrance here at the front of the building. If you're upstairs, there is a fire exit to the right-hand side at the back of the screen there. We have toilets downstairs here, and of course, as I'm sure many of you will know, we have the Ark next door where there will be refreshments available at half-time. So, the other thing to mention, of course, is if you have a mobile phone, could you please ensure that you have them either switched off or switched to silent for the duration of this evening's concert. Okay, so that's just about it for all of the bits and pieces that you need to know. I know you're going to enjoy this evening's concert. I've been here for a couple of the rehearsals, and it really is a wonderful sound. So we obviously, I know, are also here to remember potentially loved ones, family members, friends who may well have fallen in the Second World War, or we may indeed have relatives from further back who fell in the First World War. But it is also an evening for enjoyment, and I know you are going to enjoy it. So we're going to start with the national anthem in a few moments' time. But first up, let's introduce the conductor of the band, Mr. Geraint Barr. Now, if you will be upstanding, if you are able, for the national anthem. The opening piece of music was Summon the Heroes by John Williams, and that was written for the 1996 Summer Olympic Games in Atlanta in the USA. Okay, so we shall move on from that to a piece which is a traditional march that is featured very, very regularly at the Trooping of the Colour in London. And so our next piece is Royal Salute. I'm sure many of you will be familiar with from the Trooping of the Colour. Okay, we're going to feature a piece of music now from a movie, the first of several that you will hear this evening during the concert. And this one takes us right back to the year 1941, from the early years of the Second World War. The piece of music is entitled Prelude to 49th Parallel. Now, the music was written by Rafe Vaughan Williams. The film itself starred Laurence Olivier, Raymond Massey and Eric Portman, and it was set in Canada in those early years of World War II. So, as I say, the first of several trips to this golden screen, the heyday of films, really, the 1940s. And we give you Prelude to 49th Parallel. Thank you so much. Okay, we now move to a piece of music which I think will be familiar to pretty much everybody here in the audience. A piece of music that takes us back to 1964, and it was written by Simon and Garfunkel. A tune, as we said, which I am sure has been for many people synonymous with a large part of their life. It is The Sound of Silence. sure you will all agree. We have next a piece of music which is an absolute staple of most Remembrance concerts from down the years, and rightly so. It was featured in the 2017 film Dunkirk, and is a very, very moving piece of music, I always think. And I'm talking about the piece from Elgar's Enigma Variations. And if I say the word Nimrod to you, I'm sure it will all be very, very familiar. And the band will now give us their version of this very, very fun tune. Thank you. A really fine piece of music, and I'm sure you will all agree, expertly performed by the concert band. The next piece of music gives you a chance to get involved. So I hope you've got your singing voices with you this evening. We have a piece of music, a hymn, which again I'm sure will be known to pretty much all of you. And so please feel free to join in with I Vow to Thee, My Country. there, and thanks to Hal for putting the words up on the screen for you, and there will be some other bits and pieces on the screen a little bit later on. This year is the 200th anniversary of the RNLI, the Royal National Lifeboat Institution. And we've got a piece of music which is coming up next, which was commissioned for the Royal Marines Band service, and it made its debut in the Royal Albert Hall in March of this year. And we are very, very honoured because the band has been given special permission to perform this piece this evening to help celebrate the 200th anniversary of the RNLI, who do such wonderful work all around the coastline of the country. And as I'm sure you're all aware, again, it's all down to voluntary work that is done by those crews and so on. Remarkable bravery shown by so many every day of the year. So, without further ado, we have a very special piece of music for you, and it is entitled Saved from the Waves. the waves, and I know it reflects very well on the band that they have been given the opportunity over the last couple of years to do many pieces of music such as this, where they have only recently sort of been debuted by other bands at the Royal Albert Hall and much larger places than Ararat Baptist Church here. But what a cosy setting it is, isn't it? Lovely building to be in for such a concert this evening. We have another piece of music now, a musical piece from a film. And I mentioned 1941 earlier on about the 49th parallel. Well, we're next going to have a piece of music from the film that was entitled 1941. This piece of music is the march from that movie, which was composed by John Williams, a man obviously who is synonymous with wonderful pieces of music that are featured in movies down the years. This particular film was made in 1979, and it was a sort of American war comedy, directed by Steven Spielberg, written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. And it featured a wonderful cast of talented performers, including Dan Aykroyd, Ned Beatty, John Belushi, John Candy, Christopher Lee, Tim Matheson, Robert Stack was in it, Nancy Allen, and a very young Mickey Rourke, who was in his very first film. The story around the movie was about the panic in Los Angeles after the December 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese. So this is a film that some of you may remember, if you can cast your mind back to 1979, but it is indeed, as I say, the march from that film, so the march from 1941. that concludes the first half of our concert for this evening. So it's time to take a little break, and refreshments are available next door. I should mention, obviously, that the ticket sales this evening are going towards the funds for the Royal British Legion. But the refreshments next door, if you choose to go in and have a drink or perhaps a piece of cake, then the proceeds there will all be going to the St Albans Concert Band. The Royal British Legion have a little stall out in the foyer there where poppies are being sold. So if by any chance you haven't as yet got your poppy ready for the Remembrance weekend, now is your chance. Lots of other bits and pieces out there to purchase as well. Let me also just make a little mention that tomorrow the Remembrance Sunday event is at the Whitchurch Library here, the hub as it's now known, in the Whitchurch Library Gardens. And the parade will be starting down Pentline Road at 10:40, and then the service itself outside the library by the War Memorial will begin at around 5 to 11. There will be air cadets there, members of the British Legion, and also lots and lots of the parishioners from St Mary's Church and all the other churches around the area, and obviously members of the general public too. I shall be there wearing my Owen at the Library hat as one of the trustees of the Friends of the Library's charity. So please, if you are coming along tomorrow, do come up and say hello. And the other point to make, of course, is tomorrow is Remembrance Sunday, but then, of course, on Monday, that is the actual Armistice Day, the 11th of November, and there will be another short service at the Library Gardens for 11 o'clock. Both of the events, tomorrow and Monday, then will be led by Father John Davis from St Mary's Church. So we're going to have a little break for about 30 minutes now, so please feel free to go next door, have a look, as we said, at some of the stuff that's on the stall there for the Royal British Legion. But thank you very much. We'll see you back in about 30 minutes. Thank you very much.